All right, with Crown Jewel happening, they're actually doing champion versus champion for the Super Ultra Mega title. And also going into November is when we normally would have Survivor Series. He's do champion versus champion. So I figured since we've got the Raw and SmackDown men's and women's championships going against each other, why not look at the tag teams? Ironically, had I picked about a week ago to do this, I would have a different SmackDown tag team champions. So the Motor City Machine Guns. So as always, as I go through this, just because one team gets an advantage over the other doesn't mean that team is poor at it, just that one team is better. And that's why the comment section is there. If you disagree with me, call me an idiot, whatever you want to do. So of course we have the Judgment Day on one side. And this current iteration, of course, is Finn Balor and JD McDonough. On the other side, we've got Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley, the Motor City Machine Guns. All right, so let's get into this. Strength. One of the few times you will get to hear someone give a strength advantage to JD McDonough and Finn Balor. Finn Balor's an absolute physical freak when it comes to some things that he can do from a strength perspective. We normally don't see them do it because he's on the smaller side. But you definitely do have much more in the way of overall just raw physical power, which is, again, is a weird thing to say when discussing Finn Balor and JD McDonough. We'd have to give them a strength advantage. Speed. Motor City Machine Guns do not get paid by the hour. When you watch those two guys work, you would not believe that they are two guys in their 40s. They work incredibly fast. So I definitely would give them a speed advantage, which is, again, one of the few times you'd probably say the Judgment Day is at a disadvantage when it comes to overall quickness in the ring. Endurance. You know, Motor City Machine Guns have been doing this for a really, really long time. Undeniable cardio machines. In fact, looking at McDonough and Balor, also cardio machines. These guys could probably easily do a tag team Iron Man match and probably not get winded at any point in time during this. But I think that looking at the way Sabin and Shelley have been not the majority of their careers, definitely end up giving them an edge when it comes to endurance. They've worked longer matches. That's just kind of the way TNA, New Japan, Ring of Honor, all those have been. We haven't seen that many in the way of longer matches. I mean, Judgment Day, since they won the titles, have defended it a handful of times. You know, if you're looking at the previous iteration where it would have been Balor and Priest, you know, maybe things look a little bit different. Toughness. This is it's one of those challenging ones. I try to look at where people are in their career and what they've actually gone through. JD's had some flat-out wars in NXT UK. Finn Balor, you know, he blew out his shoulder in a match and still finished it. Comparing that versus the TNA schedule of like Full Metal Mayhem and the styles of matches you would see in like New Japan. But also Balor's been in New Japan too, so I will give the toughness edge to Judgment Day. If nothing else, they still have a few more years of a little more tread on their tires. Striking. You know, give us Motor City Machine Guns. They have fantastic. You know, this is striking. This is your kicks. This is your punches. This is your jump kicks. This is your drop kicks. This is your elbow strikes. And I think that when you watch Motor City Machine Guns, they do this fantastic job of doing tandem offense like that, which we don't see from the Judgment Day. I think most of that just has to do with the style that the E has predominantly done when it comes to tag team wrestling. Hopefully, Motor City Machine Guns are able to have a brand new renaissance for the tag division. You know, they've had some fantastic matches against teams like DIY, who again would have fantastic, long, just incredible work rate matches. Or like the new Bloodline. I mean, I can't really see Motor City Machine Guns versus the Usos. I mean, there's just so many fantastic things that they can do, and they just have a fantastic just tag team tandem offense. You don't tend to see that much from the Judgment Day in this current iteration. Again, they haven't really worked that many matches, so too. Grappling, same thing. You know, this is the tandem offense. This is the two guys who have worked together for years upon years, probably actually close to. You know, they were both a little over 20 years in the business. We're pretty close to it, so probably over a decade working together. Submissions. I had to kind of think about this because I was like, well, I'll give this to Judgment Day. JD McDonough is a fantastic technical wrestler. He does great small joint manipulation, which is something we don't see him do very often. His NXT and NXT UK runs were incredible. I really liked his kind of sociopathic gimmick that he had in NXT, where he was doing like the acupuncture and acupressure, and then was working that in while he was taking his opponents. Great to see them try to work that back in, but it might not be something that you can do exceptionally well in the larger stadiums. High flying. Zero doubt in my mind. You know, Motor City Machine Guns have much more of that, I will say indie style, not meant to be a knock in any way, shape, or form, but you have that high flying, that risk taking offense. Shelley is a former Impact champion. Was Impact not TNT at the time? Yeah, they changed names so many times, it's hard to figure out who was what champion at what time. But never having been the bigger guy in the match, always had to be the faster guy in the match, always had to be the more risk-taking guy in the match. And same thing with Saban, looking at his time as multiple-time X Division champion. You've got guys who are definitely well adept at leaving their feet. Not saying you don't see that from Finn Balor. Finn Balor, fantastic dives. Coup de grace, great move. Same thing with JD McDonough. You see them both leave their feet, but I think most of them just take it to a whole different level. Over with the crowd. Just hear me out, hear me out, hear me out, hear me out. When they debuted in the WWE, there wasn't that big pop. They haven't had a lot of mic time to really tell you who they are. They've shown you who they are in the ring, which is fantastic. But that's great for the live crowd, the people who are there, the people who are witnessing it. People that are there at home are the people who are just showing up for the first time. They need to know who you are, why they should cheer for you, why it matters. And I think they'll get there. Work rate alone does a great job, but having that mic time and getting that promo time and getting the ability to talk about who you are and why people should care does a great job there too. Ring psychology. Man, they're both really good at this. I'm gonna give it to Motor City Machine Guns. Um, if you watch when they won the tag titles, Saban is on top for the pin. You see Shelley counting along with it too, to really kind of bring the crowd into it. And you've got four people in this that are students of this sport. And I think it's just more of the tag team continuity to see if Motor City Machine Guns will give them the edge over Judgment Day. Mic work, I'm going to give that to Judgment Day. If anything else, we're starting to see Finn Balor almost get back to that Prince Devitt level that he was in New Japan, where he has that swagger, he has that charisma that just really comes forward, and they're given the ability to talk more. Motor City Machine Guns, they are about a month in their WWE run right now, and they've had scant amount of time to really talk, to really get their characters out there, to really figure out the E style and what connects well with the crowd there. They'll get there. They just haven't gotten there yet. So I think in this sort of scenario, I think Motor City Machine Guns will put in a fantastic match with Judgment Day. I definitely do see them picking up the W, especially the way they're being booked right now as absolute tag team specialists, which is the way they should be booked.